誰に喧嘩売ってんのか分かってんのか。俺はフェアリーテイルの魔導士だ。
So good day guys, come here, welcome back to part 3 of the video. And after the blunders from the first 2 video, hopefully this time I'll do some comparisons and hopefully there shouldn't be any more error in understanding and translations, I hope. And yep, apparently after doing some backtrack and research, apparently for Elsa, her character's talent and skills effects kind of being errata or being corrected not one but at least 2 times. So it has been like a 3rd version. The original one that you see on part 2 is the first version. After it has been done a 2nd time and of course a 3rd time. So that's why there is some how much should I say it? Mishandling of information. However, that is not the same for Natsu. Yep, you guys are right. On this part, we will be going through the last characters, the free to get protagonist, Natsu from Fairy Tail. And if you guys are wondering why am I saying Zerita or VA-Tetsuya Fairy Tail, and some of you might have known this or some of you might not know it. Yep. Are you guys in for the surprise? Here we go. Before I carry on, great thanks for information shared and provided by the Langrisser mobile app, and I'll let the cat out of bag. Here we go. So Natsu, if you guys notice, the voice character is Tetsuya Kakihara. If you still do not find this name familiar by this time, well, the answer is he is the same voice actor for our male protagonist, Matthew or aka Matthew from the Langrisser mobile. Yep, he's the characters who voiced Matthew, Wetham, and Apple TLC's aka Origin of Chaos. So yep, recurring characters for Langrisser. So yep, I mean recurring voice actor. So usual stuff, they do not provide the voice pack here, so you guys can just imagine Matthew becoming very hot-blooded or hot-headed voice characters or voicing the characters. For all of you guys who has not watched Fairy Tail, you can just imagine that. So right, backstories. Hot-blooded by nature, bold and simple. Natsu set on a journey in order to find the whereabouts of his father. However, upon knowing the truth of his birth, the young man has not been consumed by darkness. He is not the resurrect demon known as END, but as the member known as Natsu from the guild of Fairy Tail. So okay, apparently not life experience, sorry, apparently I've been trying to check out like since the life experience that is not the right translation. So okay, basically the first line talk about how simple bought and hot-blooded his nature is as a person, and he joined the guild, etc., and set on the adventures because he wanted to find the whereabouts of his father. But apparently the background story for his birth is dark. So during the path of seeking the whereabouts of his father's the journey, he find out the truth of his birth, purpose of his birth. So it's a dark truth, but he has not been consumed by the darkness. He is not a resurrected demon known as N, but as a member of Fairy Tail Natsu. So of course there are definitely some back end story that true fans will know. That of course I might not have been doing the exact correct background translations, but that's what being projected for us is just a light background story. And last but not least, he said, I'm the mage from the Fairy Tail Natsu Dragon Nail, known as the Fire Dragon Slayer Mage. So yeah, that's it for Natsu, and there's a character design, and on his right, sadly, it's this companion known as Happy, if I'm not wrong. So sadly, these characters cannot be used or does not really directly appear as a damage or attack icon. So this is kind of sad. I mean, such a cute characters. So alright, that's it for part 1. Without further delay, let's go to part 2. Talents, skills, 3C, and followed by part 3. Pros and cons about his characters, ways to abuse it, item building, and of course watch to the end for the translation I've done for you guys. And here we go. Right, on part 2 for Natsu, we'll be going through the faction buff, talent, and skills. And before we carry on, just to give a slight, I won't say spoiler, but some information about the event. It's weird enough, this time around, the main characters from Langrisser's side in this event is Mew, aka Mu, from Tat Arc, which is very weird. To be honest, or to be frank, I thought this time around they will make a joke or pun, getting Team Matthew and the Fairy Tails members meeting up together and making jokes from Matthew and Natsu about Zeredas. That would be fun and cool to look at, but sadly instead that's not the case, and we'll find out more during the actual demo play and of the event information. So yup, for Natsu, okay, he is known as the Fire Dragon Atelias Natsu Dragon Nail. Normally has a very special or unique appearance, but he's one of the strongest mage from the Fairy Tail Guild. Passionate and confident, strong and agile, and full of strength or power, hot-blooded by nature, and on battle he is pretty brave and straightforward. His bold and simple nature led unknowingly for some reason led people to be affected by his heat and passion. So that's it for Natsu, and hopefully there's no blunders for the translation. Now I have checked through, hopefully did a good job on part 3 on the most non-strongest characters, sadly. So alright, Natsu is a free character that you can obtain on the event, and great news for you guys, it's a point climbing event. You do not need to farm for items, you just need to battle up your points, and that's it. So right, his talent is known as Fire Dragon Slayer Magic at rank 6. And if I'm not wrong, you'll be only given rank 5 till rank 5 in the event, so you get to farm the rest of the shot yourself. Alright, watch to the end for the translation that I've done for you guys, and the effect are as follow. Here we go. Number 1, increase attack and defense by 20%. Number 2, the first effect will double when you're battling against Dragon class unit. Number 3, when you initiate battle or when allies are being attacked into battle, you will obtain one layer of buff known as Flame of Emotion, aka FOE. We'll call it FOE in short, FOE. FOE buff provides the following effect. First, increase damage deal by 5%. Second, this buff can be stacked up to 6 layers. Third, the effect lasts for 6 turns. Fourth, effect cannot be dispelled. Number 4, when you have at least 3 layers of FOE buff, after you initiate attack into battle, you'll recover HP based on 30% of damage deal. So that's it for his talent. So definitely we know he's the protagonist. He's a very strong characters from the anime, definitely, or at least he's not that weak, but sadly he's kind of, I believe, is slightly nerfed down in this collaborations. So okay, let us re-go through his talent. So number 1, he has the base of increasing attack defense by 20%, and the effect doubles, which is increased to 40% attack and defense when fighting against dragon class units. So definitely you can see some downside is the talent is increased attack and defense, so this is more physical, so it will ignore magical, so he will definitely be weak against magic. Then second is the doubling effect. It's, well, I would say almost 80-90% good to none, because dragon class unit is definitely very rare to see or met with in both PvP and PvE, so this effect will almost not be triggered. That's almost like only 10% chance for this effect to trigger. But number 3 is some downside. There's definitely pros and cons. Is when you initiate battle, attack into battle, or when allies are being attacked into battle, then you obtain a layer of buff known as Flame of Emotion, which we'll call it FOE. So based on the text written here, of course we'll find out more during third part of video, is Natsu has to initiate attack to go into battle to gain the buff, or it says when allies are being attacked into battle. So when allies are being attacked into battle means that they're being attacked by enemies. So if your allies go into a battle with enemies, this means you won't be getting the buff, which is not very cool, because it's on the Chinese word it says 被攻击, you have to be attacked. So this means the only one who will help trigger this is either you sacrifice your allies like summon units to be attacked, killed off by enemies, or you have to throw your tank up into the map to become the center of attractions from enemies' attack. And the buff each buff give 5% damage increment, and the effect lasts for 6 turns. And the great thing is that the effect cannot be dispelled. However, to receive the max buff stacks, because it can be stacked up to 6 times or 6 layers. This means the maximum buff you get is 6 times 5%, 30%, and this means that in order to achieve this, either Natsu or your allies have to be attacked 6 times to gain the max stacks. Of course, it'll be 5 times if you want to include that Natsu will initiate attack once. So it's pretty slow. As you can see, the setup is very slow. If you're trying to get a max stack, it's achievable, but it will be slow. Then number 4 is when you have at least 3 layers of FOE buff onwards. After you initiate attack into battle, you recover HP based on 30% of damage deal. So getting 3 layers is still kind of more. If 1 to 2 layers is still fair enough, but 3 onward is slightly more, case by case. But I feel 2 layers will be good. Okay, coming to exclusive skill 1. So okay, his exclusive skill 1 is taken from his actual counterpart skills. Fire Dragon's Brilliant Flame. The Japanese name is known as Karyu no Koen. So it means the fire dragon flames, light flame or brilliance flame in this case. So it's a 1C skills, has a CD of 2 turns. The range is 1 block. The AoE type is physical single target. So this is his 1C melee skills. The effects are as follow. Number 1, attack and deal 1.4 times damage to target enemy. Number 2, when you kill the enemy unit, reduce this skill CD by 1 turn. Number 3, if you have 3 layers of FOE buff, enemy will not be able to counter attack this battle. So pros and cons. If you do not have 3 layers of FOE buff, this is just a normal 1.4 times damage skills that will have a CD of 2 turns. To enjoy the skill reduction benefits, you got to kill off the enemies. So if you do not kill off the enemies, this skills is still 2 turn CD. But if you do, you still need to wait for 1 more turn before you can cast the skills again. It does not reset, so sadly some downside. Then the pros, the third effect, pros and cons. Against the cons is you need to wait to gain 3 layers of FOE buff, but the pros is once you have it on this battle, from this attack, from these skills, enemy will not be able to counter attack. So it's not a debuff, it's just like a rule that they will not be able to counter attack. So this is pretty cool. So you can see there's a free characters. Definitely the skill given to him is that will have some downside. Okay, exclusive skill 2 END mode, taken from again his anime or manga counterparts, and I find out from Wikia the full meaning. END is not a word but an individual shortening letter that has a full meaning. It's known as Aterius Natsu Dragonail mode, or Aterius, yeah. So that's his full name, END mode, not Aterius Natsu Dragonail mode, END. So this is a 2C skills, has a CD of 6 turns. That's pretty long. The range itself, the AoE type is transformation skills. Effects are as follow. Number 1, enter END mode for 3 turns and gain the following effect. First, increase damage deal by 20%. Second, unit will become demon class unit. Third, when you have at least 5 layers of FOE buff and you manage to kill enemy after you initiate attack into battle, you can act again upon trigger. Enter a 2-turn CD before you can trigger the skills again. Number 2, when in END mode, for each enemy you kill or each ally that dies on the field, increase the transformation turn count by +1. Number 3, for each turn of +1 you gain for END mode, the following will happen. First, when you initiate attack into battle, dispel 1 buff from enemy. Second, dispel up to max 3 buff from the enemy. Number 4, when END mode end, you will gain a 1-turn debuff known as Dragon's Exhaustions. So basically it's a debuff. It has the following effect: reduce your mobility by -2. Number 5, for END mode transformation skills, the effect cannot be dispelled nor immune. And second, after using these skills, when you act again from the skills, buff turn you had will not be reduced. So that's it for END mode. It's pretty long, but from a skill set you can see 50% pros and of course at least 50% cons. So we'll be going re-summarize and going through the pros and cons. So first, it's after casting these skills you enter END mode, and the mode will last for 3 turns by default before triggering any additional effects. So the effect will last for 3 turns for this transformation. Then you'll gain the following effect, which is damage increment of 20%, not bad. However, it says the second effect is your unit will become demon class. And sadly, he do not has a no class advantage or disadvantages, so he will take in additional damage from holy unit, from my understanding, as it's not written on any other text of the skills. Then third is, if you have at least 5 layers of FOE buff and you manage to kill enemies after you initiate attack into battle, then you can trigger act again. And upon trigger you enter a 2-turn CD before you can trigger again. Then number 2 is, so as you can see, the cons here is, in order to trigger act again for Natsu, you need to have at least 5 layers of FOE buff, and you need to kill the enemy. So he is basically a nerf and lower tier version of Urza. So Urza is just as long as the number of enemies are more than allies, I can act again. But Natsu got to save and accumulate the buff, and need to stack to at least 5 before you can trigger again. That is, oh my god, not a good idea. But the second, number 2 is when in END mode. So for each enemy, either Natsu kill or each ally that dies, you extend the buff effect by +1. So not too much of a cons. To do the extension, you don't have to really kill enemy, you can just sacrifice your allies, and it doesn't have to be your hero, so you can sacrifice your summon. So not too bad. Number 3, and is for each +1 turn prolonged effect you gain for your END mode, you gain additional effect. That is, when you initiate attack into battle, you'll dispel 1 buff from enemies. So maximum is dispel 3 buff. This means you either got a 3 killed off either 3 enemies, or at least 3 of your allies die. Then you can dispel up to 3 buff from the enemy. Not too hard, and of course not too easy to achieve for Natsu. Then number 4, you gain a debuff, the cons, but it's only for 1 turn, so actually not too bad. It's you gain Dragon Exhaustions. It just reduces your mobility by -2. This is definitely better compared to characters like the Yu Kakushu collaboration, the male leading characters, because after his transformation and only will he gain -2 mobility. If I'm not wrong, he will gain like some stats reduction, and his attack he will attack slower than enemy. So good for Natsu, only a -2 for his mobilities and nothing else. And last but not least, this transformation cannot be dispelled or immune. Then when you act again, buff turn you have will not be reduced, and that's it. So I'm going to presume this is just purely treated as transformation. There's a new mechanism, it's not a buff, so it will not be affected by effect that do not allows you to gain buff. So yeah. Oops. And now coming to his 3C, so again from his anime counterpart, one of I'm not sure if this is considered one of the strongest skills, but here we go. Fire Dragon King's Roar, Endu no Hoko. So the Japanese version is Endu no Hoko, Enduo, Fire Dragon King's Roar. Okay, it's a CD of 4 turns. The range is 1 block. The AoE type is physical single target. It has both passive and active skills. The passive are as follow. When you are at Fire Dragon King's domain or Fire Dragon King's purgatory, the closest translation that I can get to the translations from Fairy Tail Wikia, it should be Fire Dragon King's purgatory. Okay, when you are at Fire Dragon King's purgatory, damage you receive reduced by 20%, and number 2, increase your range by +1. Increase your skill range, your damage skill range by +1. So I'm going to repeat again. Number 1, when you're at Fire Dragon King's purgatory, damage you receive reduced by 20%, and number 2, increase damage skill range by +1. So in case you thought I might have missed out one of the skills, what is Fire Dragon King's purgatory? So don't worry, this is a skill that you will gain additional gain from your 3C attack, and here we go. Stay with me, guys. Active skills: number 1, attack and deal 1.8 times damage to target enemy. Number 2, if you have at least 4 layers of FOE buff, you will attack first in this battle. Number 3, when you are in END mode, the following addition effect will happen. First, after battle, terrains 2 blocks around you will gain Fire Dragon King's purgatory effect for 2 turns. So affected terrain will gain the Fire Dragon King's purgatory effect for 2 turns. The 2 turns effect are as follow. Number 1, when enemies enter on the affected terrain, they will take a one-time fixed damage based on the caster attack, and will take in 15% more damage from Natsu. Number 2, the effect can be stacked up to 2 layers and last for 2 turns. Number 3, the effect cannot be immune nor dispel. And the effect cannot be immune nor dispel, I'm going to presume it's not about the terrain, but the effect caused from the terrain. So by default, when you do not have enough FOE buff, you will not be able to attack first. This is just a purely 1.8 time damage skills to an enemy. So when you're not in END mode, nor do you have enough layers of FOE buff, this is just a 1.8 times 3C damage. So this is a con. So number 2 is you need to have at least 4 layers. When you have 4 layers, then you gain this effect is you attack first in this battle. Not too good, not too bad. Then number 3, which you definitely need it, is and easily achievable, is END mode. So you cast your END mode and then you can gain additional effect when using this 3C. That is, after the battle, terrains 2 blocks around you will gain the buff, will become terrain effect known as the Fire King's domain or Fire Dragon King's purgatory for 2 turns, and they have to provide the debuff effect for enemies. So when enemies enter on the affected terrain, they'll take a fixed damage and will take in 15% more damage from Natsu. The effect can be stacked up to 2 layers and lasts for 2 turns. This means the max damage enemies can take is 30%, but only from Natsu, no one else. And this debuff effect they take cannot be immune nor dispel. So that's it for Natsu. Okay, now we'll go to part 3 where we're talking about the pros and cons about his effect. Here we go. Okay, we are coming to the close, and on part 3, before we carry on, a great thanks for information shared and provided by the Langrisser Data Bank. And apparently, based on the information provided, Natsu has been errata or strengthened once at least. That is for his END mode, that they provide him with act again, and of course they slightly increase the offensive ability in his talent. So yep. So okay, for his defensive bond is to win 1 time in the daily Apex arena. Then for the strengthened bond is to unlock his third class. So he only has 1 path, which is the descendants of the Flame Dragon King. So if you unlock the last path, you will get to unlock his offensive abilities. So these are the rune emblem or casting materials he need from level 1 to 10. Then this is stats for his class. So apparently his dragon class, like his counterpart. I guess that's the greatest part about Natsu. And in additionally, his default mobility is 4 blocks. Then in additional, for his equipment, he can be equipped with sword, dagger, hammer, axe, staff. He can wear light armor and cloth armor, and also heavy armor. So he's very flexible. Okay. Character heart bond at level 4 and level 7. Level 4, when being attacked into battle, physical damage you receive reduced by 10%. So not generic enough. It's not just damage, but only physical damage. So it's definitely weak against magic attack. Level 7, when being attacked in close combat into battle, increase damage deal by 10%. So when they say receive attack from close combat, I'm going to presume you got to be attacked by enemy instead of you attacking enemies. We'll find out more. Hopefully they do explanations. I always get confused at this part. Sorry about it. Okay, explanations about Natsu is his talent. So it says when either Natsu initiate attack into battle or when his allies are being attacked, he'll gain 1 layer of FOE. So the max stack is 6 layers, is 30% damage increment. However, when he has 3 stack, he will gain HP recovery after damage, after battle, based on 30% of damage deal. These are the least of skills Natsu will have. 3C N mode, exclusive skill 1. Then of course important characters. He has Sword Soul. He also has Air Slash. Okay, nonetheless, not too shabby for free characters that you get. You have Sword Soul, so especially for new players, if you don't have enough damage characters, Natsu is definitely a great counterpart for you. Then for the 3C, nothing much. It's the same as what I've explained. So the thing about the passive is only when you are standing on the terrain for Natsu, then you will receive damage reduction of 20% and increase your range by 1. So he only become a 2-block attacker. There's nothing much I'm proud of, to be honest. Then N mode, when you initiate attack and you kill enemies, then and when you have 5 layers of FOE buff, then you can act again a city of 2 turns. So it's quite awkward, even though they gave him this act again, but it's a act again that's very hard to trigger. And okay, nothing much of a difference from what I've explained earlier, so I'll be skipping the part. So okay, talking about his FOE buff, so these are the tables of number of buff stacks he need and how it will affect or assist in his other skills and 3C, so you guys can have a look. So the first is 1 layer, followed by 2 layers, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when you get the first 2 layers, he basically it's nothing much. He just gained up to 10% damage increment. Only from 15% damage increment, which is 3 layers onward, you recover 30% of damage deal against enemy as HP. And when you transform in your N mode, you gain your 20% damage increment. And when using your exclusive skill 1, enemies cannot counter attack. Then followed by 4 layers. When using your 3C, the rest is not much change. Only for 3C you get an attack first, then 5 layers. For your N mode, from 5 layers onward, after killing enemy, you can get to act again. Then 6 layers is the max, nothing much. So despite he has been receiving a strengthening effect, I guess it's not errata. Normally my bad, Yu-Gi-Oh! And use errata. It seems like they have been nerfed, but despite they try to buff Natsu, it seems the buff is very minor and not easily achievable. Sadly, for the VA of Mashu, sadly despite still being a protagonist, it's still fairly weak. I feel bad, and this is the suggested enchantment for Natsu. And the equipment, so definitely go with Ragnarok and definitely Last Ride for protections. And other stuff is to give him offensive abilities and also CD reductions, because the CD is a lot. And as you guys can see, the points given to him for both PvE and PvP are huge different. PvE is definitely better and PvP is definitely very weak, very long setup. Then you can go with full moon or clock. That is definitely more preferred by me. So we have come to the end. What do you guys think about Natsu? Leave it in the comment section below. Do you think he's weak, strong, or very, very bad? This is Kami. Thank you guys for staying and watching my channel.